Hey, everybody. Welcome back. You're listening to The Blodgett Show. I want to welcome everybody to this week's episode of Real Talk Tuesday. This week, we have a double topic that we're going to cover. That is, surround yourself with people that actually care and value you. And topic number two, take your own advice. This is episode 70. So, once again, guys, welcome. Appreciate you being here. If you're new to this podcast, my name is Chris. I'm your host. And every week, pretty much, I do 2 episodes. Tuesdays are Real Talk Tuesday, where I come up with basically whatever topic I might be feeling at the moment, whatever topic I might be inspired about. With this week, there's actually 2 of them that I was leaning towards both of them. I was like, you know what? I was leaning towards each one individually, and I was like, you know what? I'll talk about both. Why not? It's information that I think that a lot of people out there probably actually find value in this stuff. One of them, the surround yourself with the right people, was actually inspired by somebody I'm connected with on Facebook. From the top of my head, I can't think of her last name. It's like her first name is like Malissa. It's like Mallissa or something. I'm connected with her on TikTok, and I'm connected with her on Facebook. I don't think I'm connected with her on Instagram yet, but maybe I am. I don't know. But I know when I was listening to doing my daily, I call it Bible reading, but it's an app that I go through the Bible in 90 days, but I listen to it like an audiobook, and so every day there's like a daily lesson. And then, by the last day, of course, you're finishing up at the end of the Bible and stuff. But basically, I don't know how many times I've gone through it. Me and my friend Kirsten, we kind of because you can invite friends to actually be on the lesson with you. So she and I pretty much have been doing that Bible lesson for the past probably year and a half, at least 2 years. Probably 2 years by this point. Time flies. So I was doing today's Bible reading or Bible lesson pretty much, and I got a little pop-up alert that Melissa. I'm assuming it's pronounced kind of like you would normally pronounce Melissa, but it's with an A, so I don't know if it's Melissa or regular like Melissa. But anyway, she's kind of the inspiration for one of those topics, because I got a pop-up that she was going live. And I was like, had a headset on or whatever, so I was able to just bring it up and listen to what she was talking about. And basically, she just talked a lot about, I think she said the human brain can only comprehend, or can only manage or comprehend, 128 relationships. And so even if you know more people than that, she was talking about how there'd be people that'd be like, "Oh, I know a lot more people than that." And she'd be like, "But do you though?" And how she may not remember names, but she would always focus on every detail of the conversation that she's having with people, because she wants to know everything about people that she has in her life. And she said that she kind of bases those conversations on whether or not that she thinks that they should be an important part in her life, or if they should just be an acquaintance. So if you're talking to somebody, you go out to lunch or something, you're talking to somebody, and they kind of zone out while you're telling them about something. They're not really paying attention, and you have to stop, and you might have to repeat yourself, whatever. Then obviously they don't value what you're saying, and so that people like that, it's good to be able to pick up on that, and to be able to say this person obviously doesn't cares what, care what I have to say. Like, it's all about them, And when I was listening to her, I'll admit, like, I thought, like, yeah, but I'm very, and I know being busy is never an excuse, obviously. So I'm not gonna say, well, I'm busy. I can't remember everything. It's not necessarily I'm busy because of what with the way that my schedule is and stuff. Working the late nights and all that crap. A lot of times being tired. Most of the time, I just have trouble keeping track, I guess. Like, I'm not, I would remember what we talked about, but, like, I know I'm one to say I'm horrible with names as well. Like, I can meet the same person, and I have to meet them a handful of times before, unless their name is, like my name, like, if it's Chris, or if it's, like, name of, like, one of my family members, it'll be easier for me to be, well, that's Allie, that's Aaron, that's, it's Chris. Oh, I know them. But, otherwise, like, I can, I'm great. I can remember faces, but I won't remember names as easily. Case in point, whenever I met the team from Minnesota that I deal with, that I meet up with every week, except for this past week and a half, because I haven't actually ran my regular loads past week and a half. I guess loads are pretty, or freight's been pretty light, according to what my boss tells me and stuff. So, even though it's kind of that part right there, I'm going to go into that a little bit later, but because that's part of it, partially into the other topic. But, when I first met the team that I deal with, I, of course, because I knew that I was going to be dealing with them every week, and it's good to have each other's phone numbers, so that way they can text me what time they're going to get there if they run into issues. I can text them, hey, I'm on my way, I'll be there by 9, or, oh, hey, I got stuck in traffic trying to get out of Nashville. It's probably going to be like 11 because we're not moving. That way we can keep in contact and stuff. But and they're out of St. Paul. And so when I first met them and I talked to, because it's a married couple, talked to the husband of the group, husband part of the team. So now I know his name's Chuck, and I know her name is Joanne or Joanna or something. I basically asked him, I said, hey, can I get your phone number? So that way, like, we could keep in touch. If something happens, like, we can let each other know what's going on. Said, yeah, absolutely. So he gave me his number, and I texted him. All right, I just text you, or I just called your number. You should do that. Just be sure to save it in there. He said, what's your name, Chris? Whatever. They introduced themselves to me too when I first met him, but of course, like, we're like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? Can I get your number? Blah blah. Really quick, and then we pretty much went, did what we had to do. Got our trailers, our loads swapped, and then we, got out of there. So when I went to put after Dahlia's number, of course, like, I didn't put his number saved in my phone immediately. I got everything, got myself pre-trip done, got the dispatch set up, got myself dispatched, went inside, heated up food, hit the bathroom, refilled my water bottles, and then before I left, I was going ahead and saving the number, but I was like, shit, what did he say his name was? So, even though now I know what their names are, they initially, when I saved the number in my phone, I saved it as FedEx swap St. Paul married couple, because that's the best I could do. I had no idea. What what names were and stuff. The only way that I managed to actually, like, eventually realize, okay, their names are such and such, is through random conversations. Like, we would talk, chat for a few minutes when we would meet up. Most nights, especially if I got there fairly early and they were there waiting on me, and it wasn't like 11 o'clock, it was like 9:30. They might come over like, hey, so how's it going? How's your wife doing? Like, yeah, not too bad. She's go through this, or she's trying to, she's looking at stuff on Indeed, or she's, dealing with this at work, and they would mention each other through those conversations. So, like, I'd be talking with Chuck, not knowing not remembering his name off the top of my head, but of course, be talking to him, and he would say like, yeah, Joanna was saying such and such. And I'm going, okay. You know, I didn't say anything at first. I was kind of making a mental note. And then there's times where she would be the one talking to me, and she would say something like, yeah, Chuck did such and such, whatever. And so after, I think it was probably like a month and a half of us like meeting up, you know, doing this load, which hopefully after, because technically recording this, you know, on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, so you guys will be hearing this on a Tuesday, Real Talk Tuesday. But I figured, you know, you gotta go with it when you're like, all right, I have this idea for a topic to talk about. So I thought about it. I was like, I could wait like I did last week, but I was like, yeah, but who knows if I'll remember what I thought about talking about. So one of the nights when we were meeting up, I was chatting with Chuck or whatever, you know, he came around with chatting. I was like, oh, by the way, I'm just clarifying, right? I think your name's Chuck, her name's Joanne, correct? He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool, all right. I was like, I was wondering because, and I apologize because I'm really bad with names, but I can remember faces, but it takes me a minute to remember names. And I know, I think I finally got it. He's like, yeah, it's Chuck and Joanne. I'm like, oh, cool, all right. So I was like, all right, cool, I got it. You know, I figured out, you know, he's like, yeah, well, congratulations, man. So then he, you know, we shook hands again. He goes, so nice to meet you officially now. And I'm like, yeah, you too, man. I was like, I apologize. I was like, that's just how my mind works. I was like, I'm just very bad at, you know, remembering names. You know, it depends, you know. Especially like right now, I probably won't remember names because this week has just been, you know, hell week kind of. Not because of work, not because of the workload, mainly because of like, I had, I think it was Thursday nights, might have been Wednesday night, no, it was Thursday, so Thursday night, I was supposed to work, but instead, I was gonna work Friday. Okay, no, so it's Wednesday. See, yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to get the dates to try to keep the dates straight too. So it's like, all right, so was it Wednesday or Thursday? But I think it was Wednesday night. I was supposed to work, but my boss called me and asked if I could switch to days for a couple days. And I'm like, when you say days, you talk like early afternoon or what? He goes, no, like 9 a.m. Oh, like, okay. Well, I was like, I'm not a morning person. I said, plus I have a 2 o'clock appointment at the VA because I'm establishing primary care there because I've got medical coverage through the VA, and you know, dealing with the whole certain meds I need as far as the diabetic diagnosis go from like $25 to freaking $300 because of my deductible. And from what I hear, they can get covered through the VA. So I'm like, okay, cool, you know. I told us that's why, like, you know, Friday would be a little tough to run days, mainly because of my 2 o'clock appointment that afternoon. He's all right. Well, how about this? Like, why don't I put you on there? Like, I'll get you running a load tomorrow morning, which would be Thursday morning. And I was like, well, like, what would I do tonight? Would I just be off? So that way we switch the days or whatever. And he goes, yeah, pretty much. And then like Friday, I'll put you back at night or whatever. And like, all right, you know, like, I guess that'll work. So didn't run anything Wednesday night. And basically I was told that I'd probably get paid like for 8 hours of standby, because I said I don't want to just have a night off and not get paid, because that's, you know, going to be quite a bit of hit on the week, you know, versus like actually doing something small and making something. So didn't work Wednesday night at all. Thursday, I literally, like, being that I'm not a morning person, I try to go to bed by like midnight, and had trouble sleeping because, of course, I'm so used to going to bed like probably 3 or 4 at least, sometimes 5 a.m. You know, because I work swing shifts. You know, like right now it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm still probably like an hour away from where I'm delivering in Murfreesboro, because because I took a load down to Atlanta, and then of course I'm like, yeah, what do you guys got for me to go back to Nashville? They're like, oh, actually, probably something tomorrow morning. So here's a sign-in sheet. I said, actually, I don't do overnights. I said, I'm literally here and back. And they go, oh, okay. Well, what Nashville are you out of? Like North Carolina? I'm like, no, Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. So he disappeared back for a couple minutes. He came back and said, all right, they got a loaded pup trailer that's going to Murfreesboro, and then from there we can get you to Nashville. I said, that's fine. I think the Murfreesboro hub is literally off of 24 as well. I literally would be going by it on my way to Nashville, so it's not like that much of a detour. It's like get off on an exit, go drop that trailer, and then have them dispatch me to Nashville. So like I can deal with that. It's fine. Especially because I'm not dealing with doubles. Like I've literally just got the one 26 or 28 foot pup behind me. So, so after all that time, you know, finally got, you know, have the team. I still didn't update it in my phone, and I didn't change their names or whatever I have them saved as. I just literally was like, now I know their names are Chuck and Joanna. I'm like, all right. But that's not because, and, you know, it's one of the things that, like, if I were commenting and stuff on Melissa's, and, you know, if it's just going out to that lady right there, if you, Melissa, if you hear this episode and I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize. Please feel free to reach out and let me know. You know, let me know so I can not massacre it. So apologies in advance if I'm massacring your name. Because I know, like, with my last name, and people are like, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Blodgett? I'm like, no, it's Blodgett. Oh, okay. Unless it's a phone call on unknown number, Mr. Blodgett, Mr. Blodgett. I'm like, nope, not interested. Click. Because usually it's a telemarketer calling, trying to sell you something, or a collector trying to get payment. I'm like, nope, no way. But sorry, get a little sidetracked for a second. You know, that's just how my mind is lately because I'm tired of it. But so basically, what she would talk about is how, like, she would have these conversations with somebody, you know, or like go out to lunch or go hang out with them or whatever, and she would literally be laser focused trying to pick up on every detail that person talked about because she values the people in her life. And I'm like, and I guess what I was saying was, if I were replying in that live, if I were, you know, commenting on her live, which I didn't, I reacted to it into the heart on it, but otherwise I'm just in there listening in, and of course, I think for a while I was the only one, because it said like one viewer, and I was like, oh, I'm the only one. Okay, that's interesting. She has quite a few followers, so you know. But if I were commenting, it would have been me being like, well, I don't deliberately not pick up on stuff. Like, depends on how I'm feeling, what's going on and stuff. Because yeah, I'll be paying attention, but I might forget it later. You know, not on purpose. It's just, you know, it's how my memory is. I'm kind of scatterbrained sometimes. Unless I'm like really well rested, I'm not very stressed. Things are good. Then I might retain it easier. But most of the time, especially lately, you know, I struggle with that because I'm already. It's one of those things where, like, I've got a dozen or more things that I'm always thinking about, I'm always worrying about, I'm always stressing about, like, you know, for instance, money, health, you know, and to go along with money would be the rent and stuff like that, you know, just basically like those major bills. And me being the major breadwinner, that's always worry for me, because especially like lately with the you know, loads canceling and doing different stuff, I have that worry, which I'm kind of trying to keep on the back burner. I don't go out and actually ask the boss or whatever, but I have that worry in the back of my mind, because I'm still getting messages by the team saying, hey, we're ETA is going to be 8 o'clock, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on a different run, like, I'm totally going to get anything from Atlanta. But there's a little worry in the back of my mind that probably is not probably not a valid worry, you know, 'cause it's probably not going on. But the worry in the back of my mind is that, you know, because I know my boss has talked about wanting to, you know, make sure that everybody gets something. And so what I took away from that was that I might sometimes not be on my run and do something that I make less money on, so that someone else can run my run and get a little bit higher miles, you know, to kind of let even everybody out. And I'm like, I understand that. But at the same time, if my load is running, I was hired to do that load, and that kind of bugs me if that's the case. I don't know if that's the case, and I'm trying not to assume that that's the case. You know, because whenever I talked to the boss, like, got paid this week and even got the monthly bonus, and with that bonus, I still barely made what I normally would make after a 5-day work week running my regular load for 5 days. And that was kind of depressing, kind of, to see my check be what it normally is when I normally work 5 days. But basically that means I made like $600 less than that. And I was like, that really sucks. I told him, you know, when I got done with my VA appointment yesterday, I was I'm on my way home. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very, very stressed out because, like, I got the bonus, which normally I'm like, woohoo, got the bonus, my check is really awesome. But I was like, I barely made what I normally take home. I was like, so that kind of stresses me out. He was like, well, that's like, everybody's stressed out. Like, that's not just you know, that's company wide. That's everybody, you know, all across the nation or whatever. You know, that's how freight is. But I'm told after the 14th it should get better. I'm like, all right, you know, well. So but I guess he told me that one guy up and quit without warning, without notice, just kind of up and quit, went to another contractor with FedEx, but then was obviously sitting in a new truck for a couple days, realizing that it's not just here. He said, "Oh, I think that it's me, that it was me doing it or the company doing it, but I've been telling him it's across the entire country." He goes, now he realizes it, he wants to come back, and basically my boss said, "Yeah, that's not happening." I told him, I said, "Well, you know, I'm not quick. I'm very not quick to leave because I know that I'm approaching my 1-year mark, and I know that he told me that after 1 year we get like 1 week of PTO and 1 week of vacation." I'm like, that's really awesome. Because otherwise, your first year, you're getting PTO as you work. Like, you know, you get like 1 hour, you get like 1.5 hours per every day that you work. And so, like, by the time I took a vacation, I had like 4 days of PTO actually saved up, and I'd been here like 6 months. So I was like, wow, that doesn't really accumulate very fast. I was like, yeah, but after your 1 year mark, you know, you get you know, PTO and vacation. You get PTO because we don't have sick pay and stuff, so you get the PTO and you get the vacation on top of that. I'm like, well, that's cool. So I told him, I was like, I like being here. I like my job when it's going well. I kind of hate it when it's not going well. Because one of the things I told him in the past was that when I'm off my regular days off, I feel fine, you know, because I'm supposed to be off on those days. You know, that's my scheduled days off. But when I'm off during the week, when it's a regular work day, but we just don't have anything to do, I said I feel out of it, you know. And not gonna lie, you know, those days I still will go and be like, all right, well, I'm off, so I'll go grab a couple of the adult beverages, enjoy the night, just kick back and relax. But so back to, you know, surround yourself with people that actually value you and care. And I know, like, hell, I don't even know 128. I mean, I probably do, but I know that I don't have 128 relationships and people that I would call, like, they're my circle. My circle is actually very small. Like, I think there's probably, you know, including the wife, my circle is probably like, you know, people that I think actually listen and care. Well, my wife and my kids, because they do listen, you know. But family aside from the wife, because I know, you know, obviously mentioned the family already, but my wife and probably at least 2 others at least. I have people that message me on occasion. They say, how's it going? What you up to? Like, hope you're doing well. You know. But I have probably at least 2 or 3 others aside from my wife that actually, we have conversations fairly regularly, and so I'm gonna do a shout out to Rico and Kirsten. Probably outside of my my family and stuff, they're probably, I would say, two best friends or whatever. I have other friends that they would probably fall into the category of people that care more about them benefiting from the relationship or whatever, like them getting help or them getting support or whatever, but then that's one of the things too, guys. You got, like, if you're supporting others, like, you're, hey, that's so awesome, congratulations, or, oh man, you're doing so well. Like, you're doing that for them, and you're not getting that same effort back. Like, let's say, for instance, like, I have a friend that I'm not going to mention the name, but basically would request, like, let's say I'm going to try to find an example here. Let's say you know somebody that they want your feedback on stuff, want you to look at something, want you to check what they're doing, and you have also, let's say you're doing something yourself, like you have a project yourself. May not be the same thing as them. Maybe they're doing, like, writing a song or something, and let's say you're writing your poem. You're writing poetry, and so they're showing you their song lyrics. Like, hey, like, what do you think? Like, what advice do you have? Like, what you think of it was pretty good? Would this be something, like, what kind of music do you think I should put with this? And of course you're be like, well, yeah, I think it sounds great. It looks great. I think it looks like a rock song, or it looks like that could be country right here. But then let's say that you turn around and go, well, I'm like, because they're sending you all their stuff, all their different lyrics to have you, like, hey, I revised this, let me know what you think. And then you feel bad because you're not really sharing your project with them, like letting them know what you're doing. So you decide, hey, I'm going to send you this out, because I know that you've been showing me all your stuff. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. But then, like, weeks go by and they're like, well, yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it yet, or, okay. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like one thing Melissa talked about during her live was basically she pays attention not to words but to actions, because words are cheap. Like, it's easy to say, hey, I'm gonna do such and such, I promise. Like, I'm gonna do it. She talked about when there's men out there that actually say something and they follow through, and that is like it's really awesome. And I'm like, the funny thing is like, that's kind of why I resonated with her live, because I was thinking to myself about, like, well, that's literally what I strive to be in life in general. But it's like my wife, I know I think I've talked about this in one of the earlier lives, like back at the beginning when we first started. But one of the things that my wife was not very happy about with me back at the beginning parts of when I started trucking, because we had one car at the time, and so when I would come home for my 2 days off at home, like, she would have to come pick me up, and she would want me to give her an exact time frame of when I'm going to be at the yard, and then not only that, but she would want me to promise and swear to her that I would be there at that time. And I would, even though I was fairly inexperienced, I hadn't been doing trucking very long. I still do traffic-wise. I do that you can't guarantee anything out here. Just tonight, even, like, went to Atlanta with this load, and I had no issues going down. I got to the Atlanta terminal, got delivered, got my food heated up in the bathroom, and then got the next load, got back on the interstate, and literally as I got on the interstate, I could see over on the southbound side where I just came like 45 minutes prior, completely shut down because there's like 3 semis, 4 cars, and something, like big accident, whatever. I was like, oh crap, I barely missed that. But then I'm thinking, oh cool, I missed that, awesome. Then you go north, and you're seeing signs saying like, hey, at mile marker 310, there's a major accident, all 4 lanes blocked. Shit. Thankfully, because I use GPS, or I use Google Maps when I'm going somewhere I don't normally go to very often. I've only been to Atlanta twice since I've been with, doing my current job. So I use Google Maps to kind of help out, and it's great for especially down there in that area, giving you a heads up like there's an accident 10 miles. Well, it chimed in my ear saying like there's an accident 5 miles. There's an alternative route. It'll save you. I said it'd save you 11 minutes, but I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna save a lot more than that. And I zoomed out on the route to kind of see what it looked like, if it was like a lot of twists and turns, because some detours like takes you up in the mountains or whatever. And a lot of curves, and you're going like 25 miles an hour, and so it takes forever. But this is like straight shot over, straight shot up, straight shot back over to interstate. And so I was like, okay, I could probably do that. I mean, I was confident anyway because I only have 1 pup trailer, so it's not like I have doubles. If you have 1 trailer, it's a little easier to get out of a bind if you can back it up somewhere. When you have doubles, you can't. Like, you gotta find an area where you literally turn around it. But so I was able to avoid that shutdown, so that was pretty awesome. But so back to, and again, guys, you know how I am. Like, I apologize because I get on a little tangent and then I try to get back to the topic. And I guess in a way, I'm kind of doing both topics at the same time, kind of. But let's say the Fred Ears shares their songs. You share the poetry or whatever, and they don't really seem, oh yeah, no, it's kind of blow you off, even though you've shared it with them, they have it. Like, you email it to them, but then they keep asking you, well, hey, did you read I updated that last song lyric I just did, like, did you check it out? And you're like, well, no. Like, I haven't looked at, because you realize at that point that, okay, they only care about your feedback from them, like, they don't care about what you do, Like, they want to benefit from your friendship without them also being willing to contribute there. Or it might be like only, let's say it's a work thing, like, you guys talk a lot when you're at work. They're asking for all these favors or whatever, wanting you to check out their song lyrics they just wrote, wanting, like, I really want to be professional someday, I really love your feedback, whatever. But then, you're like, oh yeah, cool, hey, did you get a chance to check out my poetry yet? Oh no, not yet, but hey man, did you see what I just updated on that song lyric? And you're like, oh, okay, so I guess what I do doesn't matter, alright, Or, they might glance at something you do, like, oh yeah, there were a lot of dumbass mistakes in there, but it's all good. I mean, it's not a rough draft or whatever. It's like, really, wow, okay, you actually said that. That's interesting. Little cues like that, like what Melissa said, like paying attention to actions versus like words, because people can say they care all they want. People can say they value what you say all they want, but then when you actually have conversations with some, quote, friends or whatever, and they, you'll start to talk about something and they kind of like look away or just like tune out because it's like, oh, it's talking about working, or they're talking about this again. It's like, okay, That's why my circle is pretty small. Like Kirsten and Rico, for instance. We may not talk every day, and with Kirsten it's more because like she, before coming over here to the States, she wasn't working for like 13 years. Now she's been over here. She has a job. Not used to it, so she, obviously she's really tired when she gets home from work. So we'll go like 2 or 3 days. It's the funny thing though, because it'll be like 2 days, 3 days, and then she'll finally say, "I'm so sorry. I was exhausted yesterday when I got home from work. And I'm like, Kirsten, it's been like 2 days. She goes, no, it wasn't. I talked to you yesterday. I'm like, no, you didn't. I was like, we talked Monday. It's now Wednesday evening. Oh, well, I'm sorry. You know, I'm a horrible friend. Like, no, you're fine. You know, I was like, I know you're not like, you know, deliberately like ignoring me or something. I get it. You know, I'm just used to doing what I do. And even though I'm out here doing a lot of stuff, constantly, you know, doing the trucking grind, I'm also always like voice clipping with people or listening to a podcast or like this, in this instance, you know, doing the next episode for Real Talk Tuesday, keeping it real with you guys, which hopefully I'm not disappointing you right now. But you know, we gotta pay attention to the people around us, and if somebody like Melissa actually made a really good point. She goes, if you have somebody in your life, I'm trying to remember exactly how she said it because I don't want to misquote her. So somewhere along the line, I'm gonna go out and say it's somewhere along the lines of, if you have somebody in your life that doesn't value what you say, that basically zones out whenever you try to talk about what's going on with you, that you need to not have them in your life. And I've actually had a few instances like that. I've had people in my life that I thought actually were like that ride or die friends that weren't gonna go anywhere. Like the one friend I told you guys about, both of them, like the one that I told you about that said, I will not apologize for being a good person. You know, because she kept taking this abusive a-hole back, pretty much. Because, well, nobody else helps him. You know, like, yeah, there's a reason why. Or, you know, like, there's a reason why he doesn't have anybody else. And then the friend I told you guys about, that I referred to as D, where we would talk every day, and we were really close, and then for some reason it got to where she would message me every couple of weeks saying like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just so busy. You know, I'm working on myself, you know, I'll reach out sometime. And I finally said, you know what, don't even bother. I was like, because all I'm getting is that you're messaging me telling me you're too busy to talk. And I was like, well, if you're too busy and you don't want to have anything to do with me, that's fine. You know, fuck off, go away, you know. And so I cut her off, and then I cut the one off that was basically when, at that, you know, I will not apologize for being a good person. Because when she made that comment to me, when I said like, you know, when I said basically like, you're like, you need to let him go, like you need to kick him out, whatever, because he's not going to change. Basically, I was told, well, apparently you're not a good person because you won't do the same thing as me. He's like, no, I won't be a doormat. You're right, I won't. So fuck off. Good luck. Wish you the best. Although with that one, I did say like, look, if we ever talk again, I was like, you're gonna give me a fucking apology because you know what you said was bullshit. And with that one, honestly, I was kind of surprised. I thought for sure that at some point, you know, I would get a message from her like, hey, I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't mean it, whatever. I haven't heard shit. So I'm like, okay. Obviously, I kind of see where, you know, I would have thought our friendship was higher than somebody that she would take in for a couple months and then kick out because he was basically like either being abusive to her or something. And then she would take it back in again because she felt bad because nobody else. But I guess our friend, that kind of showed me the reality of where she valued me as a friend in her life. It apparently wasn't anywhere near as high as this guy that she kept taking in. Like I guess the best thing I could describe would be an F buddy without trying to keep the language down as much as possible on this podcast, obviously. I know I slip on occasion, you know, but that's the thing, watching actions. Watching how people treat you, how they react around you, how well they're tuning into what you actually care about. And I know I'm horrible about it with my wife, and she's called me out on it where, you know, like, she'll come home from work and we'll start talking and I'll mention stuff at work and then like we'll get into a fight. Weeks later she's like you never asked me how my day's going. And I was like, I'm always interested. I was like, I just figure if there's something you want to talk about, you'll talk about it. Like, you won't expect me to be like, hey, and probe. Because I'm like, hey, I'm here. You know, I'm like, I'm always here. You can always tell me what's going on. You know, it's like, I may not think to ask you, but I'm always interested in, you know, a lot of it's just being, again, not excuses, just being tired, you know, like mind pretty preoccupied, all that stuff. So I know I spent a lot of time on that first topic, but the other part, taking your own advice. I did a post today on Facebook because basically the way like last night was a rough night. You know, it was rough in general because of going from Wednesday not working because I was going to switch to mornings on Thursday, and then I got up Thursday, literally woke up at 7:15, 7:30. I was getting ready to go, and my boss texted me, by the way, stand by, and don't leave yet. Crap. And when he does that, usually I'm like, crap, they cancel the load or whatever. So he calls me, he goes, so, do you want to like move trucks around for service? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, what happened to the load? Because what I was going to do was, that morning I was going to be running a load from Asheville to St. Louis and back. So like 300 miles there, 300 miles back. So I was like, oh man, that's going to be, you know, I'm going to actually make decent money for the day. 600 miles round trip, it'll be awesome. All of a sudden it's like, well, FedEx is still holding it, so like, do you want to move trucks around for service? And I was like, well, I mean, I don't want to not have any payday, so sure, like, you know, text me what trucks where I need to take them. So I took one to Murfreesboro because it was getting an oil change, tire rotation fluid, or it was getting oil change, grease fifth wheel, tire rotation, and like filters and whatnot. He's like, it'll probably take like 2 hours, whatever. So all right, cool. I told him I'll probably bring my computer with me because, you know, that way I can just work on some stuff. He goes, yeah, bring the laptop with you, you know. So I was like, yeah. So loaded up a different bag that I actually got specifically for carrying my computer, and it's a little bit bigger. It's a Samsonite bag, but it has like 3 or 4 compartments, so it's pretty thick. And so like, you know, I got the MacBook in the middle part. Of course, I got like my couple of water bottles in the bottom part. You know, I got my gloves, and, you know, both headsets. You know, the headphones with the microphone, and as well as the Bluetooth headset that I had used for like the phone calls and recording these episodes and stuff. Had them all in there. You know, so I was like, so I got that all loaded up. Got out there, you know, got the first truck. Took it out there, checked it in. They're like, "Are you gonna wait on it?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know, I was like, "Do you have any place I can sit?" Like, "Yeah, there's chairs out front of the main building. A couple of like the plastic type patio chairs." So I was like, that's cool. You know, so I pulled one out and sat down and got my computer out and literally started working on the next story for Storytime Friday. And then of course, like, probably, that's funny, like I was expecting it to be like 2 hours, but it wasn't anywhere near 2 hours, probably like 45 minutes. So I'm literally working, I'm about a page in, and they'd already, you know, you're hearing the work, and they're, you know, they're doing the, you know, taking the tires off and getting them rotated and whatnot. I'm like, oh wow, okay. And then they back the truck out, and so I'm thinking, oh shit, they're already done. But then they pulled it back in the bay. I'm like, oh, okay, they must be doing the oil change now. You know, they're like 2 bays, I guess, one's for tires, one's for the oil and stuff. So I was like, all right, that works. So, because I had started to power down the computer because I thought they were done. When they pulled it back in, oh crap, powered it back on. Went back into the, you know, the Word document. Went ahead and continued working on the thing, and they got the oil change and stuff done. There's probably like 15 minutes, and they were already like back in the truck. I was like, oh crap, they're already done. All right. So I powered it back down, and you know, got the truck and started to head back. And my boss, I texted him, I was like, all right, so truck 113, on my way back at that one, you know, and let me know, like, because he only gave me 2 truck numbers, so like I thought I was taking like a couple of trucks to service, like each of them taking to the shop and waiting for them, whatever. But then he told me, no, you're taking this one to get an oil change, tire rotation and stuff, and then this other one you're just taking and dropping it off the Freightliner and swapping that one out for your truck, because your truck's, that's where your truck's at, in the Freightliner dealership. Okay. So I'm thinking like, wow, this might not be a very long day, and I would kind of joke to them, so am I getting paid like the 8-hour like standby pay today, as well as like probably extra day use? Yeah, I get to talk to the bosses, about yesterday. But yeah, probably like, all right, cool. Because I was like, if I do, like, and I still don't know. But at the time, if it was like, hey, if I'm not getting paid Wednesday night, then I probably would have said, go ahead and work me that night, and I won't do the day shift tomorrow because, I don't want to have a $0 day just so I can then run a load the next morning, which I didn't do. So I got home probably about probably 2:30, 2:45 that afternoon. Really early for me to get home because I usually don't work at like 7 a.m. But kind of hung out with the fam. Figured I had to do the 2 o'clock appointment the next afternoon with the VA. So literally, I deliberately was trying to stay up really late, so I'd go to bed at what I normally do instead of go to bed. Because I was tired like halfway through the day. I was like, oh my god, I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. Oh my god, sitting there like zoning out in front of the TV or whatever. So I got, for a little while, I was the only one out there in the living room because my oldest was with her kiddo back at her, and the wife was in the kitchen on the phone with a friend. So I basically got out my computer and I started writing a little bit more, probably got into like 4 or 5 or 6 pages in or whatever. And then, of course, everybody then congregated in there and we'd start watching, put on a show, whatever, and start watching something. But, so, stayed up pretty late, got a lot of writing. Like, by that night, when I got paid that night, I basically, cause I was like, you know what? I was like, it's like part of what how I always say before, like, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there. And they just gotta go out there and do it. And when I posted on Facebook earlier, it was basically how sometimes when I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, like I'm worrying about the income side of my job because of not having a day of work here, or I instead of working my regular load, making $300 and something, I might get like 150 miles, so I'm making like $80. I'm like, something's better than nothing, but one of the things I told the boss too was when we were talking about, like hell, earlier this week, I think it was Tuesday, he basically was like telling me how, well, I can't just pay you guys for standby pay, that's actually illegal now. I just found that out it's illegal, got my ass handed to me. They want you logged in. I'm like, well, I can't just be logged in. I come in at 5 and just be logged in on the computer in the truck, sitting there all day, can I? He goes, well, you can. But it just depends on like if we set a different time for you to be there. So I was like, well, if I sit there all day and then they tell me all we have is a hauling grade load, go 60 miles up, 60 miles back. I was like, Jimmy, that's not worth it for me. Like, I would rather just say, fuck it, stay home. He's like, well, that's why I'm the bridge free guys. So that way I can try to get other pay added to your day to make it a little bit more worth it. I was like, okay. So it's just like when Thursday night happened, I got paid. I thought, you know what, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying not to let myself think too much about it and stuff. And even though technically when you get paid, it's like, yeah, well, financially things are a little bit tighter. But even with that, even with all the stress, I still try to make the most of it and say, you know what, I know technically we shouldn't do this, but I'm going to go ahead and take the family out to grab Mexican. Thursday night, my check finally hit. It's supposed to usually hit Wednesday night. Late last 2 weeks, I don't know why I've been getting paid a day later than normal. It's like, it's kind of weird, but all right, But when I got paid, I came down because, my youngest was upstairs, and the wife and the oldest and the grandkid were all down in the main room. So I came down like, hey, I just got paid. When you got, and Mexican place down the street. That's fairly. Another reason too is it's fairly affordable. Like, we can go to one Mexican place easily for me and my wife together. I can spend $120 just for the 2 weeks. But yeah, we go to the one that's down the street from us. It's fairly new. And that one, literally, like, could go with my wife and we both get like two drinks, and we both get some like chips and queso, and we both get a meal and stuff like that. It might be like $50, $50 or $60 with all that. So like, I was like, hey, why don't we go get some Mexican food? You know, it's still open for another hour, and that way we don't have to worry about cooking anything. And she was, well, I thought you didn't get paid yet. Well, you know, my paycheck just hit. You know, she was, all right. Well, what do you think? Like, just me and you, or all of us? And all of us. You know, let's all go as a family or whatever. So we went down there, and of course, I got one of their jumbo margaritas, which is pretty awesome. My daughter, she got a regular size daiquiri. I think it was like a strawberry daiquiri she got. So my jumbo was pretty huge. One of those glasses that looks like it's really heavy, but yet I pick it up like, oh wow, I don't know how this is that light. Like there's almost no weight to it at all. It doesn't feel like a plastic glass. It feels glass, but it doesn't feel like it when you pick it up. And then like my daughter's though, hers is like half the size of my drink, and I said, your drink is heavier than my big ass cup. I was like, I don't know how that is, you know, but so you know, took them down the street, whatever, to eat Mexican food and, you know, get everybody fed. Me and my daughter had a drink. My wife didn't grab one. My youngest, basically, because she's all about like, I want pizza. So she didn't really want to go, but my wife was kind of getting a little upset with her upstairs, getting a little vocal, I guess, you know, to tell her we weren't like, Dad's taking us out to dinner, like, let's go. And I was thinking, crap, I wouldn't have recommended it if I realized that my wife was gonna be upset with, you know, if there's gonna be yelling upstairs or whatever, you know, because like, crap, this is not what I intended. I'm trying to like, hey, let's go eat, let's go have a good time, whatever. But so all of us together, like literally when we got the tab, it was literally like $79. And I showed the tab to my oldest and Allie. I was like, check that out. She was, holy crap, really? But yeah. I was like, that's even with our drinks. And everybody eating whatever, which my youngest, she had chips and queso because that's all she wanted. And I guess she filled up on that because I'm kind of I did a little bit of bribery. I was like, hey, bug, like, you know, I know mom. I'm sorry about mom getting upset with you. You know, like I don't like when anybody gets yelled at. You know, especially if it's me, but I especially don't like hearing her yell at you guys about something. But you know, we'll just come hang out with us, have some chips and queso, and we'll, you know, I'll do a Domino's order to get you a pizza like when we leave. She was okay, cool, that works. But then when we got done eating, she was like, so Dad, could like the pizza for tonight, can I use it for tomorrow instead because I'm stuffed? I said, oh, see, you know, so they're all filled up on chips and queso. And she goes, yeah, pretty much. It's like, oh yeah. So, but you know how I'm always advising, keep moving forward, you know, take it one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. You know, with those days, like the way Thursday night went, you know, they all got to bed pretty much right after we came back home from Mexican place. And then I put on a movie for myself, probably watching that until probably about midnight. I went upstairs. That was, I don't know if you guys heard that in the background. That was the, you guys might not have, because these headsets, noise canceling, pretty awesome. But, so I have it on because I know where I'm going as far as Nashville goes, but to the Murfreesboro yard, I wasn't sure off the top of my head what exit is. I know roughly where it is, so I put on navigation so that way I would, you know, not miss it. All of a sudden end up in like Laverne. Oh crap! I went past it by 40 miles. But I'm glad I didn't like say it in my ear. That would have been weird. You know, like, so I get up at midnight or so. I go upstairs. Usually, if I'm gonna go ahead and get on the computer and work on my writing, like late at night, I go ahead and go up in the game room, shut the door, the lights are off. It's got like a couple of like fake little colored lights in there, like black lights, whatever. So it's not like pitch black in there. But I'll get on the couch and I'll just, you know, be able to focus strictly on that. Like I'm not like doing it up there. I know that I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not gonna be keeping anybody up. And so got on the computer and I just started writing. I think I probably put in like like 12:30. I'm not gonna lie, I was browsing on my phone. Browsing on my phone for a little bit, scrolling through Facebook. All right, I gotta get working on this because what I keep telling myself as far as moving forward and me trying to deal with, in a positive way with these days I might miss because of like loads canceling. I tell myself, okay, any day that if I lose a load, if I'm stuck at home for the night because there's nothing for me to do, then I'm going to make the most of it by trying to work ahead on the stories, work ahead on my writing. Because I figure that way, if I could get a story ahead, then that puts me in a better spot, I guess, for when I have my 2 days off. I can still get on, still get on the computer and write on my days off. But I'd be writing even further ahead. Like I would already have a story for that week, possibly the next week, and I could be working on the next story already. So that way, even less of a time crunch. So that's kind of what I figured. All right, I got to jump on the computer and get some work done, see what I can. I thought my plan that night was, hey, I'm going to try and finish this. But then, of course, I got quite a few pages in, was doing quite a bit, and I'm like, a lot has already happened in part 2 of that last story that you guys heard on Friday. And if you haven't heard it yet, if you're new to this podcast, go back and to Friday's episode and listen. And if you haven't heard, if you're new, go back and listen to all the Storytime Friday ones, because those are stories that are written by yours truly. Those are not stories I found or whatever. Those are actually, I sit down on my computer every time I'm off each week, and I write a new story that week. Sorry, I just turned it off navigation because I'm like, I know where I'm at now. So I got back on the computer that night, and I probably put about 2 hours, 20 minutes, something like that. It was roughly about a little before 3 when I stopped, because the only reason why I came to a stop where I was because my battery on my MacBook was getting down there, and I was like, I better bring this to a close and save it so I don't lose anything. Because I didn't want the computer to power down and lose the progress I made. Because I know it's set up to auto save, but I didn't know if it would power off and I would lose all the current progress. It's like that would suck because it's like a couple pages at that point. A lot of action in the story, so went ahead and brought it to a close where it was, to be continued later, obviously, and then went ahead and saved it and powered it down, plugged my computer and got it charged. But so that's kind of what I try to do, is I try to make the most of the downtime instead of sitting around thinking, crap, like we're gonna struggle to pay rent, or this bill's gonna be difficult to pay, or whatever, or we're gonna not be able to do this. I try to take that time and actually make something happen, like, get a little more done in the projects I'm working on, or, But when I did the live earlier is because last night was basically, it was Friday. So I did the 2 o'clock appointment, and I was there for probably a good 3 hours. I probably didn't get out of there until like 5. Mainly because, well, first I had the actual doctor appointment, and then I had to, basically because I'm being established, he was like, so he drew me a little diagram of the VA. He goes, this is where you're at, because I had to have somebody actually show me where to go. I'd have somebody show me where to go, because I was trying to look for information I had said, like, you're in pod B, room 124, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. So of course, when I came in through the emergency room, and I walked out the hall, and I'm looking at the signs. They don't have a big info sign. Like, here's where you are, where this is, here's where that is. Kind of like you go in the mall, Don't have that. No, they basically have a you know, each hallway then has a little bit of a sign that, you know, says a little arrow down that hallway, and it says what's down that hallway. That's as close to an info sign as they got. So I'm walking around, and of course somebody sees me walking around looking at my phone and looking up at the signs on the, you know, on the hallways and stuff. And they're literally like, "Hey, can I help you? Like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just trying to find, I'm trying to find primary care." I'm like, "Well, where are you going?" And I showed them the text message that I haven't pinned on my phone, so that way it won't get shuffled down the line, you know, as I receive other texts. She was, "Oh, pod B, blah, blah, okay, follow me, it's this way." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Went down 2 more hallways, and then I started seeing pods. Oh, cool. So here's the pods. All right. She goes, "Yeah, so here's where you want to be. Just go check it over there." I'm like, "Sweet, thank you so much. I really appreciate it." And some, I guess the people behind the counter even, like, you know, they saw her walk in with me and kind of pointed at the counter, and I was like, she's like, "Oh, so were you a little lost?" I said, "I was a lot lost." I said, "I had no clue where the heck I was going. It's like, it's my second time here." You know, and I kind of remembered where I went last time, a couple years back, where I actually signed up for medical coverage through the VA. That's kind of why I was there yesterday, getting established with primary care there, so I could actually use the coverage there. And, it's one of the things I told the wife, if she gets a different job and she has decent health coverage with it, that maybe what we should do is have her get her and the youngest covered with her job, and then me cancel my insurance with my job altogether. That would give me a little bit of a pay raise, which, you know, be really good when I have a full week, and it'll help when I lose days or whatever, because that'll be less money going to deductions or whatever. Surprisingly, I didn't know if she would go for that, but surprisingly, she was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see us doing that." Because when I was like, "Yeah, we get, you know, the paychecks would go up, you know, because I wouldn't be paying out the $150 or $200 for the insurance or whatever. Instead, I could just go through the VA and I get covered, and you can cover you and Zoe." And she's like, "Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually." You know, and she definitely was for the paychecks going up, you know, to help out with the, you know, expenses and whatnot, you know. But so, bear with me one sec, guys. Let's try to do my arrival here at the Murfreesboro hub, which has been here for a few minutes. So of course it might have already. Sometimes these terminals, they automatically arrive you because it tracks the trailer. So when you come in, it goes, "You've been arrived by Geofence." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Sometimes it doesn't do that. Hey, cool, awesome. It's let me do it. So recheck back in, see if they got me in the system, or if I have to go talk to somebody at Line Hall, which I don't want to do, but I will if I have to. What is it? Location number. Nope, they don't have me in there, so I gotta go talk to somebody. I'm like, great. Knowing them, they'll probably be like, "So, can you go do such and such?" Nope, I'm heading back to Nashville, man. No. So dealt with, you know, the medical appointment, you know, which is kind of funny. Is meeting the new doc. Well, they're going through all the questions and stuff, you know, when you're first getting established. So he's got his, like, nurse or whatever, and we're chatting or whatever. She took, like, my blood pressure and my heart rate and all that stuff. You know, and I told her, I was like, "Yeah, I haven't been on blood pressure meds for the past 2 weeks because I've been meaning to refill them, but, you know, money's been a little tight, so I haven't, you know." I said, "But I had scheduled to get a refill today, but then I'm also coming here." So I thought, she was, "Well, do you want to switch your meds over here?" I was like, "Yeah, you know, if it covers it, if they're like free here or very cheap here, then I'd rather go through the VA as much as possible to get the things I need, you know." Mainly it was there because of not only establishing primary care, but I was trying to see, because I've heard you can get the shots like Mounjaro or whatever, especially if you're diagnosed diabetic, that you should be able to get that through the VA for like $40 for a 90-day supply. I'm like, well, that's a lot better than $250 for a 1 month. or if you don't get any discount card, pay $1,300 for it. So some of the questions she asked, it was kind of funny. It was like and I joked with the wife. I said, "So you're not gonna believe some of the things she asked me. She asked me if I get beaten by my spouse at home." She goes, "Wow." I'm like, yeah. I had to tell her the truth, love. No, I'm just kidding. So I was like, no. I was like, but my wife's a redhead, so like she could it's like, does you get yelled at by your spouse? I said, me and the kiddos, we sometimes get yelled at by my other half, but it's not like violent. It's more like she's angry about something, or she's stressed or whatever. So she ends up like snapping. I said, but she always afterwards apologizes for snapping or whatever. But it's like, it's nothing. I was like, it's all good, She was, oh, okay. She was, well, so have you ever been like forced into like sexual, forced into sexual activity you didn't want to do by your spouse? I'm like, no. And I was like, can I be honest about something? She was, yeah. I'm like, I was like, I would be surprised if there's any guys that would say they were forced into sexual activity. With their other half anyway. Like, I'm sure there's situations where they, when they're younger or something might have happened. But I mean, like, if you're actually in a relationship, it's like, there's a comedian that, like a British guy or something, joking about, like, I think he was talking about his wife. He said, like, I guess his wife said, "Get that thing out of my face." And he goes, never in the history of manhood have any guys looked at a V word, looked at a, their spouse ready to go, and basically said, "Get that thing out of my face." So I was like, I'm pretty sure, I was like, in a relationship like that, sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there. I was like, I told her, I don't think I've ever actually known any guys that would actually turn down anything if, because most of the time we're the ones that might, I mean, not always. I'm saying that a lot of times the guy might be the one that wants it more, and the other half, the wife or the whatever, might, not really be in the mood or whatever. So it's like, she was, "Oh, I hear you saying." I was like, yeah, but it's never. I was like, nope, never forced. She was, okay. But one of the interesting questions was like, do you like have thoughts of hopelessness? Do you like thoughts of hurting yourself? Of course, I was like, no, and definitely not the hurting myself, whatever. And I said no about the hopelessness, but then like, then I came out when I left that appointment after basically being sent down to do labs. So I had a lot of blood drawn, had to pee in a cup, and then I was gonna go to a pharmacy because they were, I still gotta wait for the shot. They haven't approved that yet, but I was able to get all my other meds that would normally get at Publix. I went ahead and got them there because, hey, 90-day supply, and I didn't pay anything for them. So they cool, But in order to pick those up, you need a VA ID card. I didn't have one. So before I went to the pharmacy, because I figured I was going to have trouble picking up my prescriptions without an actual ID card, I went down to the main information desk and was like, hey, how do I get a VA ID card? Oh, go through that door back there. So I went in like, hey, I was told to go through here to do an ID card. I'm like, yeah, go down to the last desk right there. Really easy. I don't know why I didn't do it when I signed up for medical coverage to the VA. Because, I could have done it. It literally was like 10 minutes. Like, literally the guy's like, what's your name? What's your birthday? What's the last four of your social? Is this address still the correct address for you? I'm like, yep. And then he printed off a temporary, like it's basically a page that has the picture of what my ID card's gonna look like. So I guess I'll have proof, If we go I told the wife, well, at least I'll have, like, if we go somewhere that offers a military discount, I'll have proof. Like, I can show them my VA ID card. She was, oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah. I'm like, but at least now I'll have it. I mean, it's gonna be like 6 weeks before I get it, I think, but at least I'll have it for when anytime I have to go to the VA again, I can literally be like, so what, can I see your ID card? I'm like, yeah, here. So I was able to go down to the pharmacy and get that all, got that activated. Because apparently I had to activate the prescriptions. So that's kind of weird. And then I had to go to the actual check-in window and show the ID card, and they were able to, we had to sit there and watch a big screen that had all the names on there. Like, when your name pops up, your prescription is ready. Cool, all right. So everywhere I went in that freaking VA hospital, though, I literally would walk around for probably a good 10 minutes, looking at signs, looking at the little diagram that the doctor drew me, which is mostly accurate. There's a little discrepancy there, you know, but otherwise it's pretty accurate. And you know, finding everywhere I needed to go. And so that was fun. So I texted my boss after I left, and I was like, so I'm on my way out of the VA. That's what I told them about the, you know, like, I'm a little bummed because, like, I got my bonus, but I barely made crap, you know, without the bonus. So I'm thankful I got the bonus because that made my check actually still halfway decent, but it would have been a lot better if it was my regular check plus the 600. Or plus the, I don't even know, I think it was 600. Because it's based off of mileage the truck runs for the previous month. You know, so it's like 6 cents per mile or something, so it's pretty cool. But you gotta do the online training and all that stuff, and you gotta do all the pre-trips and stuff. And if you don't do any of that, then you get deducted. I've had months where when I first started where I was like, why am I not getting the bonus? Well, because you're not doing such and such. Like, yeah, I am. But I wasn't doing it right after I dispatched, so I was getting penalized for it. So now it's like literally dispatch myself, go on the computer here in the truck, put the load information in there, all that fun stuff. And you know, not slack on it because I'm like, I want that bonus because that bonus helps, especially today, or especially this week it did. But so you know, when he was like, yeah, well, you know, that's just how it is, company wide, nationwide, you know, there's just rates down, you know, but it should pick back up in that, you know, after the 14th, which it was like the 16th when I'm talking to him. So I'm like, so it should have picked up by now, or are we talking like next week? So they're all right, cool. You know, that's where I'm trying to be, like, instead of complaining and, you know, bitch and complain to him, like, this sucks, man, like, what's going on, whatever. I'm trying to be like, at least, you know, because he can kind of be intimidating himself. So I try to be like as respectful as possible. Like, so sir, what are we doing tonight? You know, like, what's the plan? Is Farina running? You know, we didn't get any freight from Atlanta, so I was like, all right. So what are we looking at? Probably show up, be on duty by 9 o'clock again tonight. Wait for probably Memphis or Knox. And he's like, yeah, probably Knoxville. I was like, all right. So I was on my way home, and then I, you know, messes the wife, like, cause I hadn't eaten at all yet. It's 5 o'clock, 5:30 at that point when I was on my way home. And all I had was a little bit of water before I came to the appointment, and then, you know, didn't have anything else since. I didn't even have my water bottle. I think I had a water bottle in the truck, you know, in my Ram or whatever, but I didn't have it inside the clinic with me. So I was like, you know, messes the wife. I said, I really want a cheesesteak. Like I said, I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything all day. I've literally just got out of the clinic. I said, you want to get cheesesteaks from it's a Philly place that we have. The little food trailer that's permanently set up. You know, literally they came from Philadelphia, and they have like actual authentic Philly cheesesteaks. They get like with Cheese Whiz, mayo, whatever. You know, you can do mushrooms with it, which when I was like, do you want to do over here, or do you want to do the Jersey Mike's? She was, well, no. I was like, well, we could get mushrooms from Jersey Mike's. She was, we could do it from, it's a Philly place too. I'm like, are you sure? It's funny, I'm seeing this guy pull around and whatever to go out the gate here, and I'm like, you're not going to be able to make it out this way. You have to come around the back. So it's like, good luck, because he's got doubles too. So I'm like, ooh, it's going to be fun. I almost want to get out and watch him. But, so she was like, oh yeah, we could do mushrooms at It's a Philly thing. So I was like, all right. I was like, well, you want me to pick you up so we can go? Because she said, like, initially it was, I'd ask you to pick up my prescriptions at Kroger, but I don't know if they're even ready. I said, well, I can try. But, you know, I said, that's what I mentioned, eating a Philly cheesesteak. And she was like, I was like, do you want me to pick you up? I said, yeah, absolutely, that'd be great. All right. I was like, then we could get you, me, and Allie a sandwich, and we could probably pick Bug up a pizza, you know. She goes, that sounds great. Plus it was downpouring rain, so like I was like, we did our best to like not have to get out in the weather as much as possible. So for the first time ever, you know, I actually went through the drive-through at the pharmacy at Kroger to get her prescriptions. You know, because I was gonna just I said, I was like, want me to just drop you off at the front and have you walk in really quick while I circled the lot. She goes, well, why? Like, I don't have my card with me. I'm like, well, crap. Because I was like, you know. So we circled around and went through the drive-through part. I was like, well, I've never done this before, but we can try it. It worked out pretty good, you know. Joking with the lady on the camera or whatever while we're going back and forth. I'm like, I'm just doing this because I don't want to. I'm in flip-flops because it was nice weather when I went to my appointment earlier, but now obviously it's not. And so I was like, we're just doing this drive-through part just so we could not have to be in the weather. And she was, I hear you. But so the boss texted me, actually be at the hub at 8:30, you know, because you're gonna actually go to Lebanon, and then from there you're gonna do a back-to-back double turn with you know, down to Huntsville and back. So, okay, you know. So I got there at 8, you know, trying to get out, like literally 8:40. I'm still fighting with them because well, we put you in there for a single trailer to take over there. All right. Then I do a single trailer and I bring it up to check in and get myself dispatched. And they got me set up for doubles to take 2 empties. And I'm like, no. So I'm calling them and they're like, oh, we got to wait until that guy comes back. He's on break. Okay, you know. Like, but he told me he's putting me on a single. Like, it would take me time to actually set up doubles. And I got to be there to Lebanon or whatever. So then the boss calls me. He's like, well, like, are you going to dispatch anytime soon? I'm like, well, sir, like, Mike told me he was putting me on a single, but I've got a single attached, but then when I log in, it has me set up for doubles, and when I just talk to somebody, he wants me to freaking wait for Mike to come back. He goes, well, because you got to be in Lebanon at 9:30. I'm like, oh, shit, all right. He goes, yeah, so if you got a single, just tell him to send you out with a single. I'm like, all right. So I called, didn't give me any choice, basically just said, basically just told him, like, look, like, I need you guys to switch it. I need you guys to send me over there with I've got a 53. So I was like, I have to be there by 9:30. I don't have time to set up a set of doubles. I need to go. All right, cool. We got you set up. Go check back in. Like, all right, why couldn't you do this earlier? Why'd you tell me I had to wait? So I got over there, and even when I got to Lebanon, I wasn't ready yet anyway. So I was like, all right, well, went through that one, got that load picked up. Finally got down to Huntsville with the first one at like 1:30 in the morning. Had to drop one trailer and then go over to the other Huntsville location, drop the other trailer, pick up 2 empties, go back to Lebanon, and then I was gonna take another load from Lebanon back down to Huntsville. When I got up to Lebanon, and I realized at the last minute, I was like, when I got up there and I did a 30-minute break before getting ready to get loaded and stuff, and I looked at my time and I was like 3 hours and 50 minutes on my 11-hour drive time. And I'm going, it's a little over 2 hours to get down to Huntsville. That means that I need probably at least 4.5, 5 hours total to get down there and make it back to Nashville. So I'm looking at the time going, crap, what did I do? Like, how am I down that low in time? And I realized, oh crap. I was like, apparently I had left instead of putting myself in yard move at all the locations I'd been to, I was in drive time the whole time, so I was ticking down that 11-hour clock, and I'm like, oh crap. So I had to call and talk to Lionel and kind of be like, so I need you guys to, you know, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do you have somebody that can do that run instead of me, because this happened, and you know, I don't have time to legally get down there and back, and I don't want to violate my hours because that'd be bad, because FedEx would frown on that. My employer would frown on that, you know, I'd get in trouble, probably get fired. And they're like, oh yeah, we understand. So like, yeah, we got somebody to cover it. We'll go ahead and load you back to Nashville. I was like, cool, all right. So I got back to Nashville. Well, by that point, I was like going to sleep at like 7:30 this morning, and just really like stressed the heck out. And when I got on the road this afternoon, it was like, you know, it's like I was awake and I was, you know, feeling okay, but still kind of like, you know, you got that when you're just really stressed out, it's really dragging you down. And that was part of why I did that post online, basically saying like, sometimes I find it hard to take my own advice because I'm always about trying to keep moving forward, keep taking it day by day, week by week. But I said some days I was like, it almost feels like it's a really hard thing to do, you know. So, but you know, then I have to be like, you know what? No matter what, on that post, it's literally like, you know what? No matter how heavy, no matter how heavy of the weight that I'm carrying around is. I was like, I just got to keep trying. I got to keep pushing on. I got to just keep going. And I've had quite a few comments already, like, you got this, man. Yeah, keep going, man. That's all you, like, you got this. You know, we know you, like, you're tougher than most people, like a lot of people that I know. Like, you're always positive, and, you know, we're grateful to be friends with you, whatever. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, it's like, whew, it's hard sometimes. So, I mean, it's not like so for anybody out there listening, and, you know, don't misunderstand it whenever I'm saying, like, keep pushing forward, keep believing. That is as much for me as it is for you guys, because I struggle with a lot of stuff too. You know, like, I have a lot of weight I carry around, a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of, you know, it's got a lot of weight on my shoulders, like the weight of the world, because being pretty much the major breadwinner in our household, and trying to make sure that everything gets taken care of, and then dealing with the financial stress of loads canceling, and me being like, it would be so easy to just up and leave, go do another job, but at the same time I'm going, when my load is running 5 days a week for a while, things are good. Like, I'm getting my full checks, I get the full checks plus bonuses once a month, things are good. But then when things are bad, they really suck. So I find myself just coming to work, even though I'd rather just stay in bed. Some days I want to stay in bed and cry. But, you know, I find myself literally dragging myself out of bed, getting myself ready to go, kissing the wife goodbye, hugging the grandkid, telling the kids I love them, and say, see you guys in the morning. And I get in the Ram and I head out. I get to the truck and come out here and do what I gotta do. And then I go home, eat something before I go to sleep, and go upstairs and go to bed. And I rinse and repeat 5 days a week. And then, of course, I enjoy my 2 days off where I get the adult beverages and stuff, kind of wind down, chill out, relax, whatever, get some writing done to prepare for the next Storytime Friday episodes for you guys. Because, you know, one of the things I hope I've noticed, I've seen a lot more activity as far as like number of downloads on my hosting platform. I have noticed it seems like I have more listeners tuning in lately since I've done the Storytime ones. That's awesome. I will ask you guys though, you know, if you do like this podcast, feel free to, because word of mouth is great. So if you know people that might actually they're into listening to stories or whatever, then by all means let your friends know, guys. So in conclusion, you know, to close this episode out, guys, I want to say how much I really value those of you that tune in with me, that hang out with me on Tuesdays and Fridays. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with me. And if anybody feels inclined, feels motivated, or, you know, like has the desire to support the show other than obviously word of mouth, one way that you can do that for as little as $1 per month will be going to blodgettshow.com/support. There's, like I said, the monthly option, or there's a one-time option where you can do one time whatever. I thank you in advance. I really appreciate any and all contributions, because it helps with keeping, you know, the expenses for keeping the show up and stuff. But aside from that, just tell people about the Blodgett Show. Let your friends know, and you know, I still have that email address out there, of course, blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com, or if you go to blodgettshow.com, there is a contact link on the main page, and if you click that, it'll give you the option to send me an email. So send me an email, tell me if there's any particular topic you want me to talk about on Real Talk Tuesday, or if you have a story idea, let me know that as well, and I'll see what I can do. Or even if you just let me know what you think of the stories, because like one thing I really do appreciate, you know, when we're talking about people in your life that actually don't just expect from you, but they actually they contribute to your life as well. I will do a shout out to my friend Kirsten. My friend Kirsten and Rico. But recently, I would say most recent shout out would be to Kirsten. One thing I really appreciate about her, and I don't even ask her, like, hey, what'd you think? Like, I literally, the Storytime Friday episode posts, and then literally within hours, I'm getting a message from her. Oh my God, that story was awesome. I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for part 2, or I can't wait for the, you know, like, oh man, that was amazing. Oh my god, telling me how like, you know, her ex, I guess he wrote a couple books, but I guess he wasn't very, sounds like he wasn't very good. She said all the books kind of sucked. She goes, I only read one of them and I couldn't really get into it. Like, you know, his family and friends bought a couple of books, but he didn't really, like, he never succeeded at them. She goes, but if he would write, like, if he was writing like you, then man, you actually would have been. I'm like, well, I mean, I was like, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I was like, you know, I do have a book in the works that I haven't really put anything else into for a couple weeks, but it's like got probably about 150 pages so far. Still got a lot of ways for it to go, but I've played it for her. Like, I've recorded audio of, like, you know, one of those apps where you can read it to you. So I've uploaded that, and then I was recording it as voice clips while that was reading my current book, and then I was sending her the voice clips as. So basically, she was listening to it after I listened to it, because I would record it, and I would send it to her, and then record the next part and send it to her. And then it ended where I basically had you know, last written in that, and where it ended, it was like, oh man, I thought I went further than that. But when she got the last part, she goes, oh my god, like, I want more, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I was like, that's where it stopped apparently. I was like, but I'm focusing on the writing now, so I will get that done. I was like, that might be part of why I'll try to get like 2 or 3 weeks ahead in the Storytime Friday episodes, or in the Storytime Friday stories, so that I can start trying to hammer some more stuff out with the book, you know, get a little more substance in that, so that way I can be rolling right along in there for, you know, towards getting that published and getting a finished product, you know. But one other thing I'm thinking about doing, I told the wife, because I want to, you know, have other, like, I plan to have like merchandise eventually, and one of the things I'm thinking about doing is I already have a second book idea, and basically what that second book will be me turning, every time I have so many of the Storytime Friday stories written, turning a handful of those into an actual book, you know, maybe titling it Blodgett Show Podcast Stories. And having that book be something that, like, if people will say donate, or they contribute to the site or support the site or whatever, you know, like at a certain level or something, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far ahead, but that they would, you know, get a free, like, I would send them a free book, or if I have like mugs with the Blodgett Show logo or whatever, or cover art, whatever, you know, have merchandise like that I would send people. You know, it's all stuff in the works, you know, but of course, on the financial side, can't really do much right now because still fairly new, and of course dealing with all the stuff with my work, you know, it's kind of hard for me to try to plan for stuff like that. I was just glad I got the website up and running. So baby steps, you know, baby steps. That's why I was saying we gotta keep, you know, I gotta take my own advice, gotta keep pushing forward, gotta keep trying, refuse to give up, refuse to quit, refuse to throw in the towel, because it's like, where am I gonna go? Like, if I were to throw in the towel, like, what am I gonna do? Like, what do I, you know, there's nothing, like, I wouldn't want to leave where I'm at, because I do love my job most of the time. Just like I wouldn't want to leave at home if things aren't, if we struggle at home, I wouldn't want to necessarily leave home, because, you know, I do love the fam. We have fur kiddos, and we've got 3 cats and whatever, and it's like I would lose. There's a lot of things that would, you know, wouldn't be very beneficial if I were to quit on anything, like quit the job. Who knows what I'd be jumping into and stuff like that. So, but anyway, guys, I've talked your ear off enough. I apologize. It's been an hour and a half. It's the longest episode I've ever done, but hopefully, I would be curious to see if people, any of my listeners out there, you know, if you guys hung in there with me for the full amount, because, you know, and I'm just gonna say I appreciate you if you did. But again, throw me an email if you guys have any suggestions, comments, questions, topics you want me to cover. On the main page, the drop-down menu, click the support to see where you can actually go and click the support button if you want to actually do, like, support the podcast, or the promotions that have a few promotional options for you guys to sign up with an account with Sophie and get a little bonus or whatever. But on that note, guys, as I always say, with, you know, the advice I got to take, you know, take my own advice, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. And I guess a little more advice because of the topic about the, who you have in your, like the people that you have in your life. Pay attention to actions versus words, because people can say, I believe in you and I support you, whatever, but if you're doing something, let's say that you have a friend, or just somebody in your life in general, let's say you have a friend or somebody in your life that the way they support you is by liking your posts. But they might not listen to what, like in my case, for instance, I know there's at least a handful that basically they always like my stuff. Like they like my post when I share it on Facebook or like it on TikTok or Instagram. But I'm pretty sure they don't. They might tune in every so often, but I don't think they actually actively listen to my podcast. And it's like, if you're gonna support me, liking my post, yeah, that's great. Commenting is even greater, but actually tuning in and saying, wow, tonight's podcast episode was great. That, or stuff like that, or if it could be not even a podcast, like if you're a baker or something, or if you're like, I said the example earlier, the random, theoretical example, poetry. Let's say you do poetry, somebody basically just likes about it, but doesn't actually like read it and tell you, like, they're like, oh, that's really awesome, you're doing poetry, congratulations, like I like, it's really awesome, but they don't check it out, and they don't comment, they don't give you feedback on like, I read it, oh my god, that was a really great poem, because like I said, that's why I did a shout out to Kirsten, because I really Kirsten, if you listen to this episode, and I know you listen to the Storytime ones, but if you tune into this one, since I know you said you like audiobooks, and this is an hour and a half long episode. So if you listen to this episode, and I kind of look forward to you commenting to me, like you actually messaging me, and because of the fact that I did a shout out with you. But I'm gonna say I really appreciate you, the fact that when you hear my stories, that you actually thoroughly enjoy them. That really makes me feel really good as a writer, because we all hope that we're good at what we do, but you never know for a fact until other people talk about how good you are, or talk about how good they feel you are. Because I'm going to try to be humble and say I'm not going to say that I'm this great writer or whatever, but I'm say I do the best I can. I try to give you guys the best stories I possibly can, and the fact that at least she and a couple others, when they've read them or when they've listened to them, have messaged me saying like, that was really awesome, man. What do you got going on for next week? And I'm like, well, I'm currently working on it. So when she said, oh my god, like, the story was awesome, it came out even better than I thought it was going to come out, and I can't wait for part 2, I said, well, you're going to love part 2. Part 2 got quite a bit to it already. I'm still working on it, but I've got a lot of substance there. I've kind of changed my approach a little bit with it, and I was like, I think you're going to like it. So really appreciate you, and I thank you, Kirsten, for the value your friendship, and I value the fact that you enjoy what I put out there. So anyway, guys, I'll stop blabbing, but feel free to drop me an email, feel free to check out the site. We got this, guys. The things like, just, no matter how bad things get, just gotta keep pushing on and stuff. If you struggle, like if you're struggling or whatever, and you just want somebody, like, you want to, like, drop me an email there too, like, just, I keep thinking one of these Real Talk Tuesdays, I really want to figure out how I can go about, like, having somebody else on the podcast. Like my bro Rico, I keep telling him, hey, I want to figure out how I might be able to record a conversation with you, because he's in Charlotte and I'm in Nashville. I was like, keep telling him I want to figure out how I can record a conversation with you and have a little interview where I'd interview you and, let him talk about his music and whatnot. Try to change up the Real Talk Tuesdays a little bit. Sometimes instead of having it just be Real Talk, whatever topics I'm going to cover, have it actually be, hey, today we have a guest on who's going to tell us about such and such or whatever, and, kind of promote for them a little bit, like, hey, where can they find you? But that's like the Storytime Friday was an idea for me for a little bit. It took me a minute to actually start, getting it implemented. So interviews is something I'm thinking about doing as well, to kind of like do a little variety and stuff in the podcast. So Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all being here, and be sure to tune in on Friday for the next story, which is part 2 of the current story, which is The Fight Within, part 2. Again, if you're new, Fight Within part 1 was posted Friday night, and of course, there's like a month and a half, so like 5 or 6 Fridays before that have stories as well. So go check those out. Let me know what you think, and tell your friends, and hit subscribe and follow on the podcast, and that way you get alerted whenever a new episode posts. But on that note, guys, love you guys. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Believe me, people have tried, and appreciate you. And I will talk to you guys on the next episode, which will be Storytime Friday on episode 71. Have a good one.